Yesterday's star witness in the impeachment hearings was U.S. diplomat David Holmes, who testified that while he was in a noisy restaurant, seated across the table from somebody who was speaking on their cell phone to President Trump, that he heard President Trump admit to the quid pro quo, even though the person that he was talking to on the phone says that didn't happen at all.
While Ambassador Sondland's phone was not on speakerphone, I could hear the president's voice through the earpiece of the phone. The president's voice was loud and recognizable, and Ambassador Sondland held the phone away from his ear for a period of time, presumably because of the loud volume. I heard Ambassador Sondland greet the president and explain he was calling from Kyiv. I heard President Trump then clarify that Ambassador Sondland was in Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland replied yes, he was in Ukraine, and went on to state that President Zelensky, quote, loves your ass. I then heard President Trump ask, so he's going to do the investigation. Ambassador Sondland replied that he's going to do it.
It's a miracle Mr. Holmes here has better hearing than Superman, because he was able to not only hear the conversation from across the table at a restaurant, but he was able to understand it better than the man who was on the call. President Trump tweeted out almost immediately in response, saying, quote, I've been watching people make phone calls my entire life. My hearing is and has always been great. Never have I been watching a person making a call which was not on speakerphone and been able to hear or understand a conversation. I've even tried, but to no avail. Try it live. It appears that he was trying to convince some of the Republicans at the hearing to do a live demonstration to show that the witness's testimony was false. But nobody did. But Fredo Cuomo over at CNN decided to take up the president's challenge live on the air and embarrassed himself in front of what little audience CNN has and in front of his mom.
Very interesting theory from our president that he has really good hearing. Some would say the best hearing ever. And he's never been able to hear a phone call when it wasn't on speakerphone. From anybody. So let's just play with that for a second. Mom, can you hear me? All right. So if I were holding the phone here, I'm with Dana Bash. You know how you're always telling me to let her talk because she's so smart and I shouldn't say so much. Can you just say hello? Mom, she probably can't hear me. Mom, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. When you talk to me, I hear you.
I'm talking to you. Say hello to Dana Bash.
Hi, Mrs. Cuomo. How are you?
Oh. All right.
So, I can't hear your mother, Chris.
You're over there. So
I'm sitting across the table.
This is not on speakerphone.
I'm sitting across the table.
It's not on speakerphone. It's regular phone. It's 2 feet away from Dana. She can hear my mother. I'm not sure Mom can hear us. Mom, thank you very much. Thank you for not saying anything that'll get me in trouble. I'll call you back. I love you. All right.
First of all, Fredo, your phone was 6 inches away from your microphone, and we still couldn't hear your mom. And second, the U.S. diplomat certainly would have been more than 6 inches away from the phone. Oh, by the way, here's Ambassador Sondland, who actually was on that call with President Trump, which Mr. Holmes claims to have overheard.
If you pull up CNN today, right now, their banner says Sondland ties Trump to withholding aid. Is that your testimony today, Ambassador Sondland, that you have evidence that Donald Trump tied the investigation to the aid? Because I don't think you're saying that.
I've said repeatedly, Congressman, I was presuming. I also said that President Trump...
So no one told you, not just the president. Giuliani didn't tell you. Mulvaney didn't tell you. Nobody, Pompeo didn't tell you. Nobody else on this planet told you that Donald Trump was tying aid to these investigations. Is that correct?
I think I already testified.
No, answer the question. Is it correct? No one on this planet told you that Donald Trump was tying this aid to the investigations. Because if your answer is yes, then the chairman's wrong and the headline on CNN is wrong. No one on this planet told you that President Trump was tying aid to investigations. Yes or no?
Yes.
So, you really have no testimony today that ties President Trump to a scheme to withhold aid from Ukraine in exchange for these investigations.
Other than my own presumption.
Which is nothing.
He presumed, he guessed, he imagined. That's their evidence. That probably explains why Adam Schiff almost cried when he concluded yesterday's hearing.
An unethical president who believes they are above the law. And I would just say to people watching here at home and around the world, In the words of my great colleague, we are better than that. Adjourned.
This prompted the Babylon Bee, the hilarious parody news website, to report that the impeachment inquiry has been canceled after 5 episodes due to low ratings. In fact, on Tuesday, CBS was the first major television network to cancel the impeachment hearings and just went back to their regularly scheduled programming. Nobody with a brain believes the liberal media industrial complex anymore because literally since day one of the Trump administration, they've sounded like a broken record.
I believe this is the beginning of the end.
I do too.
It's really the beginning of the end.
He may be feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
Trump will resign.
Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over.
You think this is a tipping point?
And over and over.
This is a tipping point.
And over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
It was the beginning of the end today.
I do have an important update for you, however, on the presidential campaign of Deval Patrick. He's the former Democrat governor of Massachusetts who just threw his hat in the ring and is running for president. And he was planned to speak at Morehouse College on Wednesday, except nobody showed up. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 people showed up, but they were probably college staff there to chaperone. This picture was taken by a CNN reporter who apparently went there to cover the speech. An organizer with the college who planned the event told CNN that he canceled it when he arrived and learned that nobody was there. And speaking of Mr. Patrick, I bet that he's going to soon hold the world record for the shortest presidential campaign, even beating out Mark Sanford, whose campaign only lasted 2 months. There is no way that this guy's campaign makes it through Christmas. He probably won't even make it through Thanksgiving, which is now less than a week away. And speaking of Christmas, my new book, The Liberal Media Industrial Complex, will make the perfect gift for your family, friends, or coworkers who are trying to wake up. So head on over to Amazon.com and order the paperback, or click the link in the description below, or you can download the ebook onto your tablet from any of the major ebook stores. I wouldn't be surprised if someday my books are banned, so order it now and get yourself a collector's item.